your friend and mine. So tell me, Dr. Squee, who's it gonna be this time? We like to hear you talk, and we love to hear you listen. And if you are not subscribed, you won't know what you're missing. So welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Headphones up. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. I'm Dr. Squee and this is my show. Going out live with a few kind of technical things which we're trying to work out at the moment. But due to Facebook being working as it does, I had like 5 minutes after broadcast time to get live. So let's see. I may be joined now, depending on if we've got some audio issues sorted out, by the director of a wonderful new film, Roadhead. We're going to talk all about it. Please, let's welcome to the show and hope he can hear us and we can hear him, David del Rio, the director. Which, by the way, very pleased.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear. Oh my God, that was annoying. I apologize, but thanks for being so patient.
And I didn't even realize the pleasant alliteration until I got there. And the other day I had Dave from Del out, so this is just working out beautifully for me at the moment.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. The alliteration, director David del Rio. I can definitely get used to that.
I like it. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We may or may not be joined by one of the producers, Jon Paul Burkhart, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But we'll chat. It's all good.
Let's chat it up. Let's just fill the time. I'm ready for it.
I mean, once you've done live a few times, you just get used to this stuff happening.
I bet. Well, again, thank you so much for having me on the show. And do I go by Dr. Squee? Squee. Okay, great. Okay, cool.
It's an old nickname which has been baffling people in interview for years now.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. And where are you based right now?
Here in Southampton in the UK.
Okay, great. Cool.
Which I'm just trying to think if we got any claims to fame. The Titanic did sail from here.
Oh, okay, cool.
In one of its stops it had on the way to the iceberg.
Right. Okay, that's cool. And I'm loving the mix of Freddie Mercury and whoever that writer of the Raven is. I completely forgot his name, but it's a great painting of him back there.
Poe?
Yeah, I was thinking of a famous old author. I can't think of the name right now, but he wrote the. Sorry. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So the nice Edgar Allan Poe with Freddie Mercury painting back there. I like it.
I know it's Freddie Mercury's here, but where is Poe in this?
I was saying with Freddie Mercury's clothes. I felt like it was just like I had this little thing. Yeah. It was my little strange observation.
Okay, you understand now. I was looking in my background, like, where did I put a picture of Poe? Like, when did I do that?
Yeah. It's like, wow, I am so intricate here. Yes, that is.
I must have been quite high when I did this. I don't remember putting it up yet. But
exactly.
I believe that's Freddie circa Barcelona. I think that's why he's in the tux. If I remember.
Understood.
Correctly.
Yeah.
Got it. But so we're not here to talk about Freddie Mercury, as excellent as he is. We're here to talk about Roadhead. So where did the idea first come from for this film? Where did this kind of all start?
Well, I got to tell you, it was given to me as a script. Jon Paul Burkhart and Chloe Skye decided that they were driving somewhere. This is a great story for Jon Paul to say, but like they were driving and they found this beautiful dry lake bed, and they just decided we got to write a film that's kind of set in this location. And inspiration comes from anywhere, really. And so I've already directed a feature film called Sick for Toys, actually starring Chloe Skye and also Jon Paul Burkhart as well. He was in it, and he was the producer. And then they just gave me the script and said, do you want to do it again? We found funding. People want to work with us again. They liked Sick for Toys. Do you just want to jump in? And I go, yeah, I mean, send me the script. And then I see what the title was, and I was like, oh, shit. Okay. let's see how this goes. And I'm flipping and I'm flipping. And, you know, the thing that really fascinated me was the protagonists and, you know, the story of when two friends that are friends by default
Yes.
and don't exactly like each other have you know, figure out a way to survive. A medieval executioner looking man, and the weirdness of it I liked,
Yeah.
and also the the challenge of finding the truth within the what if this would happen. I was like, well,
Yeah.
let's try my best here. Let's try my best here. And you know, I remember having, I've said this story already, but like I'll say it again because you know, again, I think it's really important to have influence and mentors around you. Where I had a dinner with a producer friend of mine who I've worked for in the past, and his name is Adam Siegel, and we. He said, "So what's your next project?" And I said, "Well, I'm doing a movie." And he goes, "Well, what's it called?" And I was like, "I don't want to tell you." And he's like, "No, tell me." And I said, "Well, it's called Roadhead." And he goes, "Roadhead, okay, sounds fun. So have fun with it." And boom, that was like, all right, well, let's not take this seriously. And that was the attitude to go with the rest of the film and the cast and crew and go, guys, this is ridiculous. This movie is ridiculous. Let's, yes, find the truth of what it is, but let's show the audience that we're having so much fun doing it. And I'm really glad to see the response from a lot of people watching.
Yeah, I mean, definitely seem to be in the best traditions of like that out there Kevin Smith kind of film of just the wacky ideas, but also the kind of dialogue is there, which I really love. So it's not just relying on the it's called Roadhead. It's all about blowjobs and people getting beheaded. You kind of get to the heart of it, which I really like. So you know, it sounds
Oh, I
like you
appreciate
took
that.
a lot of pains to balance that.
I appreciate that. And, you know, it really just comes down to if you don't find the human story, you know, for example, you know, the horror genre, the genre itself is the star, right? People want to go
Yeah,
see a horror movie and it doesn't matter who's in it or who's not in it, but it's really the story and then the challenge of how to scare people that the genre is the star of, if that makes sense, right?
yeah,
And so what we wanted to try to do was when we are at risk of dying in any way, shape, or form, let's really discover that fear. Let's really dive into if we don't survive and we're dead, and that's a really really scary thought, you know. And I really want to try to continue to implement that sort of fear into the actors and also to the crew, where it's like, okay guys, this scene's wacky, so let's have a wacky grand old time, but make it look cinematic. Make it look at as good as possible. And then this one is scary, guys. So let's all emulate the fear of what might happen to these characters. Let's all get stressed in this particular scene, and that really got everybody on point to do their job, and I really appreciated everybody's commitment in doing it.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely a feeling that it's not scared to be both horror and comedy. Like, you know, in the funny bits, it's really funny. In the scary bits, it's scary. And kind of you feel for these people, you know, you get to know these characters. And I was really resonating. I kind of made note of what you've already said here, that it's like, it's that thing of we all have got those kind of friends who we're only friends with because of a mutual friend. And
Yeah.
you end up in the situation together. That just seems so rife for the drama.
And the other thing is that you know, you discover who they are too, which was something that I found
Yeah.
really fascinating too, right? Where you know, when Stephanie goes to Alex and he goes, "Woman up," and you know, and that was one of those things where Elizabeth and I really dug into who were you in the past to garner this courage to really get to the point of saying, hey, and I don't know if we can curse here, can we?
Go for it.
Oh, hey, like we're not fucking around. You know what I mean? We're not going to die today. Where does that come from? And then the same thing with Damien Joseph Quinn, where I go, where does it come from? Where you need to find the courage and what was it in your past? And do you miss your boyfriend at this particular point? Do you miss your best friend in this particular point? And again, that was one of those things, is like, we got to find the human story in every frame as much as we can, because if we don't like the characters, I mean, we're allowed to not like the characters, but if we don't understand the characters and where they're coming from, then or them giving a point of view, even if we don't understand what they're thinking, as long as there's a strong point of view there, we got a story to tell. And we I think the actors were incredibly brave in doing that.
And I try not to put everything through the lens of the pandemic, but it's really difficult because it's happening. So,
Sure.
like, it just seems like it's a film built to be able to be made during the pandemic. I was fascinated. Did you make it just before? Was it during?
Way
Because,
before.
like, the amount of sets and you're in the desert, which is a probably pretty good place to kind of be away from people and everything like this.
Yeah, let's stay 25 feet apart. I think that's going to be good, guys. No, we shot it. We shot it way before. Way before. We shot it, I believe, in the beginning of 2019, or somewhere in the middle of 2019. My memory sucks, but that I know that was the year. So I think it was July or something around there. I wish Jon Paul was here to kind of fill in the blanks, but yeah, it was way before the pandemic. And by the way, it's like, you do the movie, you're done with the movie, you've done your job, right? And you sort of move on and let the project breathe and live the life that it's meant to live. That's what I have always believed in, right? It's not for me. It's not a hit and not a hit and not a hit, a success and not a success, a flop or not. To me,
Schrodinger's film.
I'm sorry.
Schrodinger's film.
Exactly.
Schrodinger, like the cat.
Exactly. But it's also like let it live, let it breathe, and the fact that the life that it's living, where it's like we're almost at the end of the pandemic, if people can just smarten up a little bit, but if we're almost at the end of the pandemic, and they, through all this stress, there's a movie that they can shut their brain off and just for an hour and a half just waste the time with this movie that they're watching in a way that's kind of going, oh, okay, it's campy. Wait, there's some good acting. Oh wait, that's a pretty good shot. That's whatever. That was always the intent, though, where it's like, let's surprise people. And I don't know if we did it or not. I think when you're doing a film in this budget, you can only kind of explore to a limit, right? And also kind of fix things to a limit, where that, like, where I remember the Petra and Eduardo De Leon, they're the production designer, and something along the way was miscommunicated. I'm sure it was my fault, and that we went into the trailer, and I'm going way off, by the way. I'm sorry. I kind of do that. We were in the trailer, and it was set up like the trailer, where there was skin and hooks and blood and stuff like that. And I'm looking at it, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, this doesn't work, but let's make it work, right? Like, this is not what we talked about, but let's make it work, right? In that budget, we have that challenge, right? And so it's nice to see the audience watch the film and say, wow, that was an hour and a half well wasted, because I was enthralled with what the hell I was watching. And we had that sort of feeling on set as well. What the hell are we doing? Whatever it is, let's just keep going with it. And making it work. But to answer your question, it is nice to have a film out where there's still people needing a time to kind of shut their brain off a little bit. Especially, and I feel like we're in the wave of people have stopped watching movies and TV for a bit, and now they're kind of coming back in theaters and in their homes, because I don't know if you felt this, Squee, but like, I'm a cinephile and I'm watching movies and I'm kind of like, I'm over it. And that was dangerous. That was very dangerous for me. I'm like, I'm kind of over it. I can't watch another movie. I've been watching too much.
I
And
get
so
you.
now,
I get you.
and so now I feel like I'm in the upward swing of kind of like, okay, now kind of life is coming back together. Let's shut our brains off and watch a film. So that was my 49-minute answer to your question.
No problem at all. And how was it filming out in the desert? So, like, what a wonderful kind of backdrop for this film as well, and kind of just gives you that lovely feeling of isolation you want for a horror film.
Here, let me first of all, let me tell to all the people who were impressed with the green screen shots. There were no green screen shots, not one.
No.
Okay, the budget did not allow it. Right, we really let the scenery be a character within its own, and also what was great about shooting in our budget was, oh my gosh, they're on a trail here. Where can we shoot that tells the story that they've been walking for a long time and they're in a different place? We just grabbed the camera, panned it, and we're like, that's where we are, you know. And it was really fun to kind of find those sort of ways to kind of get creative with the whole thing. But you know, let the beauty of the space speak was my intention. Let and then, you know, one of my favorite scenes that I shot was well, two of them actually. One was when they were all kind of getting out of the van, and we had, you know, the guy was on a steady cam doing one shot following the boys as they're talking, and we see this beautiful backdrop, and I told them, you know, let's not wrap around. Let's stay on their backs, because that's real life right there. You know what I mean? And it'll get us to have the intention, but also let's look at the fucking mountains here, you know?
Yeah.
And then the other scene was the fight scene between Alex and Stephanie, which I really loved, where it felt like we were like Shakespeare in the Park. I was like, this is your stage, baby. Let's block it. You know what I mean? Here are your lights. Let's do it. And it was really fun to let the space speak for itself.
The other thing which I absolutely love was, I love the fact that kind of for a long while during the film, you're kind of like not sure if it's something otherworldly or something kind of very kind of just creepy in the real world. Like, was that something you want to kind of play with a lot in this?
I always knew it was going to be creepy in the real world. I always knew it was going to be the latter. So that was really where my intention was in that particular sense, you know, because I can't listen. You watch Pan's Labyrinth. The thing that affects you in Pan's Labyrinth is the human story. It just is, or else you would not really kind of get with it, get with the rest of the storytelling. You know what I mean? And of course, I am far, far, far less experienced and much more amateur than that film and that director. However, it was a real great inspiration of finding the reality of what if this happened in the real world, and that was our driving force.
And also, we've got to touch upon, you're in the middle of a desert with a dude in chainmail. Like, that guy just deserves all the Oscars just for that. Like, how difficult was that? Did you have to kind of keep on checking with him every 3 seconds? Are you completely burnt yet? No. Okay, keep rolling. You know,
it was crazy. I mean, you know, I think and you're talking about the executioner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I gotta say, we found, you know, his audition tape took 2 seconds. I was like, we need him. We need him, you know? And also Adam Nemeth, you know, he was really, really fun to sort of to play with, you know? He's, first of all, he's a teddy bear of a man. You know, he's just a loving man, and really a go-getter. In a lot of ways, and saying like, well, what if you did this? And he's like, okay, let's try it. You know, he was a really go-getter in that way too. You know, when the part where Stephanie wraps her legs around him, and, you know, I was like, we got to give him some comedy there. We have to. So I just threw the line there, and I said, say your feet stink. And when he said your feet stink, we were like, that's in the movie. It has to be in the movie. Just the way he delivered that was absolutely phenomenal. And then the other thing was, you know, when he's talking about when he's talking to the leaders, you know, that was a really important story for him. That was a really important arc for him. I go, these are your coaches, these are your dads, these are your uncles, right? These are the, you know, let us see the heart of this man. And once we see the heart, then that's when people kind of continue, as we were speaking, continuing to ask the question, what the fuck am I watching? A comedy, a horror, weirdness? You know what I mean? Once we find the heart of the person, uh, um, that really brought some color to that scene that I really appreciated Adam bringing to it.
Absolutely brilliant. And you've spoken a bit about this already, but kind of like, I know, especially with indie film, sometimes it's all about finding those moments on the set. Like there's some stuff which you have to work around. You get those challenges, you have to work around it. How much of the film did you have kind of already set, and how much was found as you filmed?
Well, you know, we had a great blueprint from the script, but you know, it was really diving in to figure out what else the script can give us, you know? So it was really a lot of rewriting between myself and the cast, and also sometimes the crew that they, you know, they bring in their, you know, their ideas. It felt like every day we were kind of coming in and kind of going, you know, how are we going to tell this story in a different way, in a more sort of human way. And it was a lot of rewrites, you know, that opening scene where we see our first three characters. That was me and the cast in a diner, really just kind of like, oh, this would be funny, this would be funny, this would be funny, let's try that, let's improvise that, you know, go, you know. And being an actor myself, you know, I had to be very sensitive to their skill set too, you know. And again, there's the monologue that Stephanie has in the end, you know, talking about, you know, why the world is so fucked up. You know, that was a big rewrite that morning too. And then of course the biggest rewrite of all was the leaders, you know, to really find that sort of balance of showing ignorance, but not for the sake of shock, but for the sake of truth. Of who the would people really say this, and if they did, what is their point of view behind it? And we can't, you know, we can't just say lines to shock people. We are shocked enough about what's happening and what people are saying in the real world. Sometimes it comes off like there is no point of view. It's just that they're puppets and they have a battery and they just yap. But we want to get to the point of view of the why. And whether we agree with it or disagree with it, we don't want to come out going, well, that was unnecessary. That came out of nowhere. And so, yeah, the real challenges, not the challenges, but the real changes in kind of going with the film. And for me, even shooting, pre-production, post-production, those are all different drafts of the script, without a doubt. You know, and when I'm in post and I go, oh well, look at that look, right? Oh, but it didn't say action. I don't care. You know what I mean? He was asking for a water. I don't give a fuck. Put it in. You know, like those little behavior moments. You know, that adds for the third and final draft of the script. And so I think the script was the thing that we really were, you know, working on every day, basically.
Yeah, it sounds like it's kind of about keeping true to the script, whereas not kind of like following it to the letter. You know, like if you're getting the spirit of the script through kind of what happens on the day, so kind of like that.
I think so. I think it really is like that, Squee. I think it's about when it's about being prepared of what you are going to shoot to make it look good. Okay. That's the first part, right? And then even then, there's still adjustments from there, you know, as you probably know, you know. And so then you hear just one thing from an actor going, well, I don't think my character would say that in this, or the flow of it doesn't fit. We jump in and we follow the script. We follow what the script is trying to say, but we figure out different ways and truthful ways to say it.
One thing I did want to talk about, like here we are in Pride Month, of course, and you've got a gay couple at the heart of this story. What I loved about it is, like, it's first of all kind of I think we're getting richer and richer gay characters being shown in movies all the time, and this movie is no exception. I like the fact that you could, at one hand, like you do treat these characters seriously, but you get to take the piss a bit as well, which I think is important for any character. If you're going to do a movie like this, you have to be able to take the piss out of all your characters because it is a fun movie. How did you kind of balance that and kind of make that pop, that storyline?
Well, I'll say this. It really just comes down to the actor and what they bring to it. You know, my job as a director is to let the actors go and give them guidance and give them again, I keep saying this, but point of view, right? I give them a little bit of a backstory and stuff like that. And then also, being a director, I'm like a kid in a candy store sometimes. Like that part where Damien, and I'll come back to, your question, but like that part where Damien is kind of crawling and kind of doing that beautiful physical comedy that he does. Literally, I was just like, have fun. What would your character do? Act ridiculous, and he did. And people, you just got to let him shine. So going back to your question, when I read the script, the idea of, LGBTQ plus characters being the leads, being the leads of horror, and they're against the bad guy and all that stuff. It wasn't. I didn't read it as a message. I read it as a story with a character that I was fascinated with, and who they were dating, what their sexual preference was. That wasn't my story. That wasn't the story I was, trying to tell. And to quote Lin-Manuel Miranda, love is love is love is love, right? So I want to see love. I want to see love. I want to see grief. I want to see, thing, but I don't want to see the straight or gay version of that. I just want to see, I want to see your version. I want to see your individuality version, right? And so that was one of those things that was not really talked about as much. I just wanted to find the right guy for the right part. And Damien brought such deepness to the character, and then also just playful fabulousness. You know what I mean? And how funny is it that Damien is in Lee Daniels' The United States versus Billie Holiday as Roy Cohn out of all people. It's just a funny thing. But the thing is that that's how I see things. You're an actor, so act. You're an actor, so live truthfully under this fucked up imaginary circumstance, right? I just want to see the truth, and I'm glad that a lot of people are. I get DMs and they say thank you for really showing us a character that can, from the LGBTQ plus community, that can really stand up and fight. And I go, they've had struggles, but they always have, in my opinion. Always. Right? Because a human with a spine is a human with a spine, right? And so we were not interested, or we were not talking about labels or anything like that. And with that, people got to really see themselves, which was really nice. But again, my intention was not to. This is for you guys. It was. It's for an audience, and I was just very interested to tell the story. And listen, I had one little spark of that's cool. That is something that, and how I go forward was in any of my projects is, how can I express something that's never been done before? Now that's an impossible task because everything's been done before, and there's no way you can. You know what I mean? You're not Christopher Nolan.
Actually, no, I'm not going to have this. I do not think Roadhead has been done before. I do not think film is exactly like this.
I really appreciate that.
This
actually,
is unique.
I really appreciate that. I do. But that's what you want to go forward with, right? So then when I got the spark of Alex being the main character and being the survivor in this, that was a spark of, I've never seen that before. And then that was it. And then let's go tell the story. So, but I do appreciate the response that people are getting, and the representation that people feel, because you should be feeling represented.
Fantastic. And just to round things off, before we give a massive, lovely plug of where we can find this, if you'd just like to tell us, what advice would you give if someone was wanting to get into independent filmmaking?
Well, I think that there is no better representation of your work than the product that you produce and give out. You know, we are handed so much opportunity. You know, the distribution of Vimeo, of YouTube. You have your distribution right there, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and for you know, whatever, however you know it would cost. And my advice would be, you know, my manager Jeff Maroney would get at me sometimes when I tell people I'm a writer and director, because I've done short films and I've written screenplays that have never been produced. And you know, he's kind of, you know, he's very harsh in his approach, but very, very effective when he says, you know, don't tell people that. You're an actor because you've done and acted things and you can show things. But have you ever sold a script? And I've sold 2 up to this point since then. Have you ever, you know, been in a festival and, you know, gotten jobs, whatever, you know? And so really don't tell people that you are an independent filmmaker if you don't have nothing to show for it, right? Really go out and produce stuff, and let the work speak for itself. And once the work is done, distribute, market like crazy. And you know, then you build your team, that when someone says, hey, I'll give you 10 grand, I'll give you 50, I'll give you this, you have your team with you to go and do your work. So again, I mean, easier said than done, because it's who are you marketing to, who are you giving it out to. But if you're very result oriented in saying, well, this is going to get me to the next thing, let the project breathe and really market, just market and get things done. So that would be the advice. And also, as an independent film director, you don't go for your ideas, you go for the best ideas. You get the director credit based on the decisions that you made that were good, not that, you know, the credit doesn't say all ideas by David del Rio, right? All choices made by David del Rio. It was literally, the directing credit comes with, you're given choices of ideas and you say that fits my vision or that doesn't fit my vision, and then guide them into where it is. So being a director is really all about taking the best ideas and not just yours.
Fantastic. And you spoke about marketing. Let's do some now. Where can they find Roadhead? Available on VOD now.
You can find it on Amazon Prime, which is amazing. I don't know how we even got that as a release. And then we can find us on Vudu. Yeah, you can follow me at Instagram at David Del Rio.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, sir. Now, before we let you go, this will be going out in the radio, on our radio show on Thursday as part of the show. We play a few tunes there. Is there anything you'd like to hear?
Oh, man.
Any track you like?
Whoa. Well, so we're talking about Freddie Mercury. I was jogging today to gonna have a good time, and then ha and the top of me is fan into the sky, yeah.
300 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit.
Yeah, love that one.
So if you're listening on the radio, you're right now. Don't Stop Me Now by Queen.
Great.
And if you're watching on video, then I've just paused for no reason. But that happens every week when I do this, so that's fine. Thank you very much,
Squee. I really appreciate the music. I really appreciate the music debut, the duet between you and I.
Yes,
I really appreciate the questions, and whenever I got something going on, would love to come back.
Of course, we'd love to have you back. Guys, you've been watching the Dr. Squee Show. I've been Dr. Squee. That was my show. And please remember, in a world where you can be absolutely everything, please be kind.